Per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. And we have a good old-fashioned all-time high breakout on our hands here for Bitcoin. Likely to see continuation here. I don't see any reason why this would slow down just yet, even at 122. Maybe a pit stop. We've got some legacy stuff this week to consider, which includes CPI. There's some tariff stuff. There's always a reason why people would be worried. It's called the wall of worry as this goes higher. I think my biggest concern for the week is just the structure of the SPY and the Qs, which we'll take a look at. That could drag us down if those get angry. So depending on your conviction there, maybe you're not all gas, no brakes on BTC here or alts, but I'm guessing most people are turbo long alts because they have been for years, and that's not going to change. But we are in price discovery fully here on BTC, and we're just sort of creeping up on Sunday night, on Saturday, whenever. Not a sign of reversing. I don't know who needs to hear that, but if you are shorting this, I appreciate it. You're taking the other side of that trade, and you are fueling the rally higher. So this measures to 150, 160, something up there. If things get crazy this month, it's possible, but I don't think there's any reason to be bearish on a fresh breakout in price discovery after consolidating for 8 months. That seems like a great time to be bullish. If you are fully out, not financial advice, but one thing you could do is just dollar cost average, okay? No matter what the price, you just say, all right, I screwed this one up. I got this wrong. I'm just going to dollar cost average. Second thing you could do is buy on any higher high, regardless of the Williams fractals, which you see here on the chart. Third thing you could do is wait for the Williams fractal. That could take a week. It could take a while. And then the fourth thing you can do is just buy something else, right? And I'm sure that's what many people are doing anyway, just based on how the market is moving. They're buying alts, or they are moving into alts expecting a bigger move there, which is certainly possible. But if you are trading alts, which we'll look at towards the end of this video, then you want to be checking out the BTC chart, because if you're still not winning against BTC, then you're still losing, right? Like, yes, you may be up a little bit in USD, but if your expectation is not that the BTC chart will continue higher strongly, then you're just playing a game. You're making it harder for yourself. You're putting it on like legendary difficulty for no reason, right? Like, you're dealing with this volatility whipsaw nonsense when you really don't need to do that, because Bitcoin can be plus or minus 5% on any day, and alts will be plus or minus 25%, right? And if you're playing the home game here with IBIT, somewhere 78, 90 is the measured move there for IBIT. Same deal, same pattern, same rationale. Nothing changes here. Cup and handle, just a vanilla breakout. And I see all my favorite TradFi folks on the charting side who don't necessarily trade BTC are talking a lot about this breakout as a cup and handle. So it's certainly in the zeitgeist, not just us here in the crypto side of things, wish casting this stuff to go higher. We're still in the channel here on BTC. The other question you have to ask yourself, if you caught the move and you're doing the right thing based on where the market is going, is okay, is this overheated? Where does this get overheated? What do I want to look at when this gets overheated? What do I want to use as my barometer for things getting wacky? I like to use distance from moving averages. We'll take a look at that. Another thing you could use is this. The previous 2 times here since 2024 that we have been at the 150 equivalent, let's just say, that's been the top. So we'll see what it looks like, but we're not there yet. We're at 120. And I think even if we get there, you have to give it the benefit of the doubt a little bit that maybe this is the time that we see some continuation. It's possible with liquidity and treasuries and blah, 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 right? If not now, then when, right? That this can actually enter some sort of parabolic phase. We also have a fresh breakout on Bollinger Bands on a 3-day. A 3-day squeeze is very rare, and when you get a breakout, it typically continues for quite some time. The last time we saw this in a big way was 23 and 24 around the ETFs going live. And those breakouts took at least a month to complete, if not 2 months. So again, none of this is saying, okay, now's the time to start closing your trades, guys. Thanks for playing. Here's your 5% or whatever. Let the runners run, take a breath, touch grass, whatever you need to do. But I would give this some time. Now, if you're on high leverage and you're trading alts, it's a different story. And again, you're playing this on a difficulty that may not be warranted. You know, you could do just fine on 3x leverage versus 30x leverage. Maybe 30x is too much for this. Maybe 10 is fine. Maybe 5 is fine, depending on what you're trading. Another reason to give this the benefit of the doubt for BTC is we have tapped to the underside of the midpoint of the power law corridor a couple times here. This rally since 2022. We've not seen this parabolic phase yet where in the red zone things get wacky. So not saying this is the time, but if it is, it would make sense that we would keep going in a big way, whatever the price may be. So I don't want anybody who watches this video to say, oh my gosh, what happened? We're at 125, we're at 150, whatever. Like, we are in the part of the market where this stuff happens. It shouldn't be a surprise to see crazy continuation. We're seeing tons of inflows into the ETFs as well. And we're starting to pull away from gold in a big way. This hasn't even broken out yet against gold. We're pulling away from legacy in a big way. That's going to pull more money momentum-wise our way. And it's certainly a flywheel effect, at least for a little period of time where all eyes are on us. I don't think we're quite there yet. Google Trend's still in the dumps, right? Zero, basically. Like, retail's poor. They don't have any money to throw at BTC. They're mostly in alts, but TradFi can certainly push this way, way higher on the BTC side. And against the Mag 7, we're also approaching all-time highs there on that ETF. So once we start to climb this market cap list, we're at 6 here, above silver, just below Amazon, Apple, Microsoft. Bitcoin is certainly in the conversation of one of the Mag 7 or the Mag 8 or whatever you want to call this. And we can easily just keep climbing the ladder. Keep climbing the ladder. NVIDIA hit 4 trillion. Gold's up there at 22 trillion. We're down here at less than 2.5. So we certainly have some room to run on that front. As far as being overbought, oversold, just generally in the cycle, if we look at the previous cycle, so this is the daily using the 20-week moving average, which is the 140 on the daily, as a barometer for being too overbought. You can see since the bottom in 2022, we have gotten 40, 50, 60% from the 20-week moving average. Currently, we're at 23%, relatively tame. And in these parabolic phases, 2021, it was 151%. 2017 into 2018, it was over 200%. There were several periods of time, even in 2017, where we went way, way higher relative to the 20-week moving average. So if we were at 50 or above, I'd say, okay, maybe use some discretion, use some caution here, slow things down a little bit. But we have, again, barely just started based on this metric. We can also look at the 200-week moving average, the 1400 moving average on the daily. And again, you can see we are 139% from that. Why this number? Because, well, that's where we go in a bear market. That's where we go home. We go to the 200-week moving average. And we're only just starting to get overbought on that metric. So we definitely have room to run. And if we looked like, 300% or whatever, we'd say, okay, yeah, maybe this is it. Pack it up, go home. Not there yet. We also have funding and positioning, which is very favorable for continuation. This is CME COT data for BTC on the future side. And if we look at this run since April, commercials in the red here have continuously gotten longer. They've gotten net longer, and large speculators have gotten net shorter. This may be the shortest large speculators have ever been for whatever reason. If it's the basis trade, if it's carry trade, whatever, I don't care. Doesn't matter. It backtests and says, hey, when you look like this, more often than not, bullish continuation. Also, comparing this to October last year, you can see as these commercials dwindled in their net long positioning, we got closer and closer to the eventual top, and the positions flipped. We haven't even slowed down really yet. We're adding shorts up here. People are re-shorting up here. This is also the alternative AI cloud backtested. Looks great. Bullish TK recross price above cloud. Everything looks good there. ETH, same deal. COT data is a little messier, but the end conclusion is still the same. This is where you want it to be. Commercials long, large speculators short. Cloud also looks great. Fresh breakout there. Good things happen above the cloud. We all know that. So no reason to say anything otherwise or be bearish at all. You're getting a new higher high here. And I think people, as they've sort of missed BTC a little bit, feel like alts can run higher and faster and harder and with momentum. So they're buying ETH. That's fine. Like, look, now's the time. If not now, then when? Pit stop here at 3,200 maybe, based on yearly pivot, but ultimately you want this to go 4 or 5, at least to get the bang for your buck. There's also a little high and tight flag there on lower time frames. So all this looks perfectly fine. Even have a Williams fractal up there for an ad, probably around 3,000 or thereabouts. And if we compare this to IWM again, IWM is farther, and that's zombie companies. So like, yes, ETH can certainly run harder than this. I think the more important chart is ETH BTC, and this is not crypto ETH BTC, it's TradFi ETH BTC using the ETFs as the tickers, ETH A and IBIT. Still hasn't even broken out yet. So look, if this is going to run, it's going to do it in the back half of this year, starting in July, just based on the technicals. Now we could get a right shoulder here yet to be formed. This could be the neckline resistance here, and we could see something into Q4 where this just sort of goes nowhere, but you're not losing ground. Perfectly reasonable. Either way, the end result should be ETH outperforms. That should be the end result. It is underperformed for 3-4 years. If not now, then when? Something else to consider here is leverage. What types of leverage? ETFs, options, whatever, right? MSTR is another option. For that, this is making a fresh breakout here. It looks very good. The issue with MSTR is the idiosyncratic stuff, like what is this relative to BTC? Does Sailor start tapping the ATM again? If MNAV goes to whatever, does MNAV expand here? Does MNAV ever go back to 3 again? That's a lot of thinking, but the chart looks great, continues to look great. The target is 600, 750, and if it goes berserk above that, right? Like, I don't know, 800, 1,000, whatever the equivalent of Q4 2024 was. But this chart looks phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And of course, MSTU. I don't think I'd really chart this per se, but it also just so happens to look great on a chart with the cloud. Does this go to 32? I don't know, but I'll be there if it does. I'll tell you that much. It looks about as good as it can look after consolidating, flatlining for a long time, vol dragging people for a long time. So it's certainly a personal decision, but this is definitely something that I'll be watching closely this week. I'm already holding some of this anyway, but whether or not I'll be adding to this, because this is basically every single meme coin chart. They all look like this to varying degrees. Some of them have broken out a lot. MOG has broken out. Bonk has broken out. But it's essentially the same chart. And if we look at liquidity, liquidity still looks great. Still going higher. That's all that really matters. I don't really care about any offset exactness. One other reason to be concerned here, other than the SPY looking a little bit tired, is the dollar. If the SPY breaks down, that probably means the dollar breaks up. And if the dollar breaks up, liquidity breaks down. And it probably slows us down a little bit on the crypto side. But I don't think it's anything to be worried about too much in the midterm, and especially not towards the end of the year. If the SPY does break down, I like, I don't know, what is this, 615? I like 584. Nothing crazy. Still has a little bit of room left on the inverted head and shoulders. It does have a bear div as well. So there's some little stuff here like, okay, you know, the risk reward profile isn't quite there to open a fresh trade on the Qs. And it does have a bear div as well, just like SPY, and so does IWM. IWM has more room to run, but none of these are bearish. We're just talking about temporary reversals. We're talking about the dollar temporarily breaking higher. But all in all, that stuff still looks fine. It doesn't really need to do anything. It doesn't look like it's just screaming bearish. I've seen a lot of people draw this rising wedge extreme from the bottom to the point, to this point, to that point. Okay, you know, like if you want to trade that, then fine, trade it, sit out, stay in cash, go home. That's cool. I have no problem with that. But on the crypto side, I think we'll be okay. Now, is Fartcoin going to be okay? I don't know. But most of the memes, eventually things should work out. What we finally have that we haven't had at this point is we have cloud breakouts everywhere. Now, Ripple broke out a couple days ago. Good things happen above the cloud. It's been kind of lights out ever since. Looks great. If you want to measure targets, I would go high to low, where the 1618 is at 450 there. You can also go this high, or that high to that low. That's 292 to 327. All that stuff's perfectly reasonable. ETH we already talked about. Broke out, looks great. Stellar, you know, it's always the ones you don't take. I just didn't take this trade. I didn't believe in the cloud, ladies and gentlemen. And here we are, missing out on whatever this is, 40 to 60% move, just silliness. But the time that you always want to long anything like this is around 29 cents. And there are a few that have some breakouts yet to happen. Kumo breakout waiting room, if you will. But, you know, it's like, what do you do here? Maybe sit this one out. Maybe just pick something else. That's my opinion. I think that something else could be Sol as well. Sol looks great. It's above the cloud. It's got this inverted head and shoulders. Hasn't quite broken out yet. It certainly hasn't moved as much as even ETH. And you can see the volume down here has just kind of petered off to nothing. And we are having headlines of treasury companies spinning up and buying Sol too. So I don't see why this can't do well either. It's just a matter of what does best win in what sequence and what order. Is ETH the place to be for the next X days, X months? Does Sol catch up a little bit? Does it not matter? I wouldn't beat yourself up over it too much, but just from technicals in a vacuum, this looks great. Above the cloud, Sui, same thing. Back above the cloud, looks great. You probably want to look at the Sui Sol, not on Kraken, but you want to check that out and just take a gander, right? Like what looks stronger? Sui Sol, Sui ETH, Sol ETH, that sort of thing. I don't really think it can do wrong per se. All of these should do well as long as they're above their USD cloud equivalents. Algo's another one above the cloud. Link tweeted about this one above the cloud. Looks very similar to Solana. All sorts of inverted head and shoulders stuff down here. W to a bottom stuff down here. Cloud freshly bullish. Looks great. Where does this go? I don't know. 30 is what you'd want at least. So that's a 2x. But if we just measure that low to that low, that's 22.5. That's 20, 23. Let's call it on the 1618. Sure. But you want this higher. That's the point, right? Like, where is the best place to buy this after the downtrend? It's this chart. This is what it looks like. You wait for this day, this series of days. Is everything going to pull back in your face? Maybe, but it's like, again, when, if not now, when? This looks great. Atom, similar. Haven't talked about Atom in I don't even know how long, but on the daily, again, if not now, when? If not now, when? Looks good. AVAX also just about there. This is in the waiting room, the Kumo breakout waiting room. I don't know where your best bang for your buck necessarily is going to be. That's why I tend to buy a little bit of everything, just in case, maybe more in the higher caps relative to the low caps. That's just me. But we also have things like Doge. Doge also, same deal, right? This looks like AVAX. It's right there. It's ready to go. So there's tons of options. I would stick to the stuff I've talked about personally and avoid anything that is still below the cloud. Tao's another one above the cloud. Looks good. Not for me, but it looks fine, right? There's so many things to be trading here that maybe DOT isn't the one just yet. Maybe Render, not the one just yet. So there's some laggards that you can hope to rotate into after the winners win, right? After your MOG trade breaks out 60%, maybe you rotate a little bit of that into Link or any of these others on this list that look like they're ready to go. And that's how you get 10 trades instead of 1. I think this looks fine. I think you hold a certain percentage of the winning trades for months. You just let it be. Maybe you trim a little bit. Maybe you shave some off there. Maybe you rotate a little bit. If you're on turbo high leverage, which I assume anybody trading memes watching these videos is, because I get ridiculous questions about pullbacks and whatnot. But this chart still looks fine. Where could this go? Take the high, take the low. We're kind of in the wheelhouse, close-ish to expectations. Maybe a little bit higher, but you don't know if this is just going to go, right? Now it's been straight up in the past week, so maybe it doesn't keep going here relative to everything else. But yeah, it looks strong. And if ETH breaks out, ETH beta is going to keep going. If Sol breaks out, Sol beta is going to keep going. Even Fartcoin looks good again. It's consolidating above the cloud. Okay, like look, it is what it is. Personally, I would trade WIF here. I think WIF looks a lot better to me than Fartcoin, but you do you, right? This thing holding above the cloud, Pepe holding above the cloud. All these look fine. Bonk keeps going. Shib is in that waiting room situation, so maybe not yet for me. But overall, there's so many, almost too many things to trade. So personally, I would pick maybe 5 to 10 of your favorites and just let them do their thing, right? You know, maybe if you caught XLM, you rotate some of that somewhere else. But you certainly also need to let your runners run. A great way to mess this up is over trading, closing winners too early, holding losers. People hold losers for months, years. They'll hold losers, right? It'll come back to break even. Then the moment it comes to break even or higher, you panic psychologically you close, and then boom, all that lost sunk cost is just even worse because you're not letting it go. Let it go higher. So lots of stuff potentially here that anybody can trade and do well. I don't know if it's necessarily alt season, but things are doing well in the altcoin land. Some other roadblock to watch for this week is CPI. It should come in hot. I hope the market is aware and knows it comes in hot. It's expected to come in slightly hot. If it comes in too hot, then I think we'll have some issues. But I don't think that's anything that this market won't be able to overcome. That's all for this one. Give me a like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.